Okay, welcome back, guys. This is another edition of the modeling discussion. Tech 21 versus Tonex. All right, so I have 4 or 5 cabs in this room right now that all have, well, okay, so I've got a good assortment of speakers here. I've got Celestion speakers from Marshall. I've got good Fender speaker. I've got an EVM 12, which between my classic lead 80s for the Marshall, the EVM 12, both of those are kind of like Fane in a way. They're both made at that same time and influenced by going the extra distance and manufacturing process that was popular in the late 70s. So I've got a good assortment, and then I've also got the Celestion triple cone in an open back cab that is made to get an IR hit it. So here's what I found with the Tech 21 today. The Tech 21, it feels more like an amp experience, like a cool solid state amp experience. If you're going from it into a power amp into a real cab. If you're sending the Tech 21 to the triple cone speaker, you lose a bunch of articulation that you get when you have the good patches for something like Tonex. So it sucks, man, because it's like I really want to like Tech 21, but it's all about this EQ on EQ problem. So I also used the Hiwatt one. I'll use the Marshall and Fender one later on in front of an amp, but I use the Hiwatt Tech 21 in front of the Hiwatt that I've got here. It imparted way too many high frequencies. It just wasn't a good EQ on EQ. Now, it sounds good into a power amp, into guitar speakers. It does not have as much articulation and exact tone matching qualities that something like Amalgam Audio Captures for Tonex has. But I think in a live setting, the Tech 21 into power amp into a real cab would win out in the frequency battle over state-of-the-art modeling into PA. Is the amount of articulation there with Tech 21? No. But there's this feeling that you will feel playing the Tech 21 into a power amp into a real cab that you don't get if you play the Tonex into the same power amp into the same real cab and then turn off the IR on Tonex. It's like and it's not, one's not like extremely better or worse, but the Tonex and Cortex, it's like a copy of the thing, whereas the Tech 21 is a pretty good homemade version of the thing. Now, the copy is going to be closer, but it's a copy, whereas the Tech 21 is kind of made from the ground up. It doesn't get as close articulation-wise on some of the finer points. But the Tech 21 feels more like a real amp. And it's not just the latency stuff. It's not just like, oh, the Tech 21 is 2 milliseconds quicker to the touch of your rhythm than the modeling stuff is. No, it's not that. It's that it's running through a circuit, and even though it's probably SMD, it's still running through a real circuit, and you can feel it. It feels like a good solid state amp. So I really want to like the Tech 21, but it's hard to. Although the state-of-the-art modeling is really hard to also. Because think about it. Okay, so I just explained. The Tech 21 sounds the best with a good real speaker cab matched up to it. Whereas the state-of-the-art modeling, if you put it on a speaker cab and turn off the IR, there's something usually kind of missing there. So it sounds the best going into a PA or one of those Celestion triple cone speakers that are meant for it. Well, now you're limited to just PA. Well, it's good to have that limitation because it sucks to get option paralysis. But on the other hand, you can have the Tech 21 stuff, match it to a cab and get a good match, and have you don't have a lot of options, but you got your own thing there, and it's like a really good solid state power amp. Now the Tech 21 with a tube power amp into a cabinet that matches the character model that you have, that would probably be dope. And the tube power amp might take out some of the issues that you lose with solid state Tech 21 gear. So that might be dope. But right now I have ISP Stealth power amp. That's what I'm doing. It's simple. I've already got it. If I spend big money on tube amps, I'm not going to get just a power amp. I'm going to get the whole enchilada. So that's where I'm at. I'm probably going to return the Tech 21 because, to tell you the truth, it's easier just to use the IR and go into the Celestion stuff that's meant for IR, go into the triple cone speaker, than it is to have to match speaker cabs every time. That's kind of a drag to have to match speaker cabs every time, and also lose some articulation. So I like having all the knobs on top, like the Tech 21. That's cool. I don't like menus. I don't like digital stuff. But the option paralysis thing, well, I guess with Tech 21, you just got to stick to a real cab because it's not going to be as good with into the PA as the modeling stuff is. The verdict's still not out, guys. And I've got some time to think about it. I might send it back. we shall see. I probably got 2 weeks to make up my mind before I have to send it back. Maybe I will decide to keep it. But I'm already invested in that Celestion triple cone speaker and the Tonex. So if I said goodbye to the Tonex, the resale value on the modeling stuff sucks. Like, nobody's going to buy that Celestion triple cone speaker. People will buy the Tonex, but, you know, for not that much money. There's a lot of things I like about Tech 21 and want to like about Tech 21. But I just found out tonight, don't play it in front of an amp. That kind of sucks. I found out doesn't sound as good into the PA as the top of the line new modelers do. That kind of sucks. And if you play it into a real cab that matches, you got to match it. You know, if you play in the Fender one, you got to match it to a Fender speaker, the Marshall one, Celestion Marshall speaker, whatever. If you do the right match, it still doesn't really have the articulation, the latest modeling, but it is more amp-like, and it does feel like you're playing through a good solid-state amp. So do you want a good solid-state amp, or do you want the latest modeling capture? That's what it kind of comes down to. And I don't know, guys. But hey, I'll keep messing with it, and I'll keep making videos about it. Peace.